All right, everybody, welcome to the call today. This is Scott Pierce, and we've got an amazing client of ours, Tamara Lobban from Legacy Prime Realty in Florida, and she's going to share with us. We're going to have a conversation. I want to hear from Tamara, and I know all of you do as well, about how she's using listings to leads to absolutely dominate the listing presentations. She's also doing open houses. She's doing a number of other things as well to help not only grow her own business, but the brokerage that she's at or the brokerage that she owns. So Tamara, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to finally get to meet you and the team that's helping to make our brokerage grow. So thank you so much for that. So before we jump in, I just wanted a little background so you could see how Listen to Lead kind of ties into my whole life story. So my background is Broward County school teacher for 17 years, ESE certified, ESOL, was doing great, decided to make the switch in COVID. So I just right? I didn't have any structure. I didn't know how I was going to grow my business. I just knew that it was time for a change.
Yeah.
So what happened, I was in a program, and then the program introduced Listen to Leads. And just like what I shared with Vince before, in the business now, you get something at a time and you don't know the value of it because you were getting a lot of things at the time. You're like pulling from here, pulling from there, pulling from there.
Yeah.
So as soon as I had the brokerage now for 3 years. So I met Listen to Leads when I was an agent, and I was looking for a place that was easy. The support was there because all those videos you guys do, the marketing plan, I started recruiting and I needed a platform. So that's when I reached out, and actually it's been probably less than 6 months. Since I came on board. Vincent had called and we talked. I told him what I was trying to do, and I jumped on, right? I wanted that support. I wanted something new, and I told him what I loved about the program. And since then, I was able to run recruiting ads, and I was able to upload my recruiting ads to the system. So that was a game changer for me, and everything was organized and it looked professional. That's on my broker side.
Yeah, actually, give me 1 second. Vince is trying to get into the studio. All right, let me, I apologize, everybody. Let me see if I can get him. I apologize, Tamara.
Oh, not at all.
1 second here. I don't know why he's having an issue.
That's the fun part.
Sorry, everybody. Give me 1 second because I do want Vince on here because Vince knows Tamara a little bit better than I do. I just got to meet Tamara here, and so I'm going to send him that link, and there we go. So he's
Hi, Vince.
Yeah, I wish there was a way. Let me see here. I wish there was a way to invite people from here into, well, you know what? I guess if he gets on, he'll get on. If not, not a problem. So you came to us from another program. You mentioned a little bit earlier about having a lot of overwhelm with the program, and so once you were able to get a little bit of one-to-one onboarding and talk about some of the things you're trying to do, it really started clicking for you a lot better.
And that was the game changer, right? Usually you sign up for program, but that personalized approach that I got, I felt like I was the only client, right? I'm just like, wow, you don't get that. So a lot of times we get programs and then we don't implement it because we don't feel that support. So having someone that held me accountable, that told me, Tamara, let's try this. What do you think about that? What did my listing presentation look like before? So I'm going to be fully transparent. Usually, you get like those sample on Canva. You get like those sample ones, those generic. Hi, Vince. You get like those sample generic ones, and you go in and it kind of, you go through the motion, but it's nothing differently. Or you follow other people online and try to imitate that. But now the whole pre-listing presentation became the game changer for me. And then to put in the work, as I said before, to put in the work and actually drive by the properties and take a picture. So everything was already there, was like, it blew their mind because it was like, when did you come by? Or, you do this and, just being comfortable.
And to what Tamara just said, you're looking at my screen, everybody. The image on my screen, this is one of the listing presentation flip books. There's a PDF, there's a flip book, there's a landing page. This is not a generic Canva image. This is actually the homeowner's home. You can see their name is on here, their address is on here, and every image in this thing is of their home. And so, Tamara, let me ask you this. You mentioned, so what do you do? So before the listing presentation, you take a picture of the property, you upload it, but are you sending any kind of pre-listing packet ahead of it, or do you just wait till you get there to share?
What I do, I actually give them a little teaser, right? I don't want to give them too much. And to be honest, I was, Vincent taught me, what I did was I put the link to my email, and then while I have a printable version, then in the presentation, I send them the link on their phone for them to become interactive. So it breaks up the presentation of just me talking, because I actually print out a copy. So they have that there, they're looking at it, and then I'll go ahead, I already have it in their name. I just press send, and it says, go ahead, I just sent you something, and they have that. So they're looking at it, and that usually breaks up the tenseness in the room. It's been, that's why I said is the game changer, because everyone is like distracted now by the listing presentation. They're in awe, so it doesn't become like, that trying to, get the listing. It becomes like, oh my God, what is this? And then there's like, oh, my house is on every page. So now their guard is down, they're having a conversation with you, and then you're able to provide that value, especially now in the market when we're trying to get our sellers to still do their compensation.
Yes.
We want to show that extra value. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put money into this listing to make sure it's out there. And, you pick from the few and kind of move from there. So that has been the interaction from the paper and the link that has completely set the tone.
Awesome. So when you say the link to the flip book, like this one right here?
Yes. So I would copy that on, right, and I'd put it in my email, or I'll just actually put it on their text, but don't send it until I'm in the presentation. I'll just go ahead and press send.
Oh, it's amazing how it's like so many people have different ways of doing it. And so I love how you're doing this. So so this is great. I mean, this is part of it. So talk us through though, when you set a listing appointment. So you have a seller lead, you got somebody in your database, whatever it is. What is that initial phone call while you're setting the appointment? Are you asking some questions to qualify about the property and their motivation and their time frame?
So the listings that I have, it came from a lead source, right? So it came from a lead source. So we already prepped as far as it already comes in as far as how soon you want to sell, what it is. So it's more of which agent they're going to make a connection with.
Got it.
So they come in already pre-qualified, and then you, based on the question how they answer, so you usually call them back from the system, introduce yourself. Once they have my information with them, they see a whole profile of me, what I do, what's my background, what's my passion. So they already have an idea when I call them what it is that I'm about. So that's always, what I find is when you get connected, you have to be able to provide value instantly from the time you get on the phone. So originally I'm a Jersey girl. So a lot of my clients come from up north. So I try to feel and understand or empathize of the relocation, what that's like. You're from up north, so am I. And then you make that connection instantly, and then you kind of jump into the business. But you want to be able to kind of feel out before you dive into the whole, can I come over, your house.
Okay, so now when you get to the house, talk to us. Do you tour the house before you sit down and present things, or how does that look? You knock on the door, they open it, you introduce yourself. Talk us through that just a little bit.
Okay, so the first thing I do is always find ways to compliment anything that I see that catches my attention, and just stay enthusiastic by saying, get a tour. Like I would love for you to show me. I would love for you to show me, the best part that you love about the house. Sometimes you try to get some memory of how long they've been there, what are the reason. So I always lead with relationships. So I tour the house. I'm going to go look. I love looking at houses. So, you compliment some of the blinds, especially when you notice something and you kind of see how. And then one of the things I always ask is, when the house is beautiful, why are you selling? Right.
Right.
And sometimes they don't expect that question because they're like, hey, what did she ask me that for? But then they say, well, I'm relocating to be with my, grandkids in North Carolina. And then now you understand that urgency. So as they get comfortable, then later on, by the time the tour, I always have a notepad jotting some things down if they mention something. So that way, when I sit at the table, I'm able to regurgitate some of what they said, and it showed that I listened. And then I go ahead and says, now that you've shared with me why you're selling, this is what I can do for you. And that's when my presentation comes out.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So you do a tour of the property, you're complimenting them, you're taking notes, and then it gets back to whether it's, wherever you end up at. Maybe it's a kitchen table, maybe it's the living room.
Yes. And back at the kitchen table. And that's usually where you kind of go over everything. And sometimes at the end, the call to action part, sometimes I got the contract ready because I wanted them to sign, right? And then I know, but then they didn't, right? They didn't right away. So what I did was, as I left, because she was like, full transparency, I'm going to be interviewing 2 other agents before I met you. And I said, I understand. I didn't push. Sometimes I know we could use scripts and come back, and I didn't push. What I did was I thanked her for the time because I knew from the presentation, it got her attention. I was hoping no other listen to leads agent was coming and asking me.
That's the only time you're going to have a problem is if another listens to leads client is
Yes, I was like, I keep hearing your name in Florida now. I'm like, I don't know about this.
Right.
They're going to learn our secrets. So I was hoping that, but then I left. I instantly had mailed her out a card. I thanked her. I went back to something in the presentation so she could share it with her children, right? So I send the link and something else from the presentation that she could use. I think I did the landing page this time, right? And I showed that you'll have your own landing page. And we're a phone call away, right? It was that kind of thing. And then she got the card in the mail by Monday. I made sure it was like next day, like she's getting a postcard. And then she called me back and she explained to me what stood out, how was it different, but with that confidence as she know I'm going to do what I need to do to get her house sold.
Okay, so you just said something that kind of triggered something in my mind, which is, a lot of times, especially if they're a little bit older, they're going to have their kids involved or other family members. And so having that flip book link, but also I'm showing here the landing page link. So to allow the homeowner to be able to share the link or to share this landing page, because you can share the landing page. That way, when their family members, maybe it's a kid, they're going to log in. You'll see that somebody logged in on their listing presentation. But it's going to be able to give their kids a lot more confidence. Because, if it was just something on paper or if it was just like, a 1 to 2 page PDF, but when the other family members that are going to be a part of this, they're not going to be part of the transaction as far as, bothering you every day, but they're going to be part of it. Like, hey, we think this one's good or so on. That is so valuable. That's really powerful.
And I'm glad you said that because one of the daughters came by and she saw what I was doing with the presentation, right?
Yeah.
And her daughter actually had an input, right? Oh. Her daughter liked what I did differently, and her daughter told her she's the one, right?
Hey, let me jump in there. Hey, Tamara, so nice to see you. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. So, one thing that I wanted to mention, and I don't know if you mentioned it, but I know you told me this, is that, it's the technology that's really grabbing them. And it's interesting in you sharing with us today that you're using our technology in ways that we don't really think of. You're reaching out to them this way and that way, and that's engaging those people. And it's really showing them that you actually know how to market from a technology standpoint. But the one part of the listing presentation that you told me was the closing piece was the QR code.
Yes.
Did you get there? I got here a few minutes
later.
No,
we didn't get to the QR code yet.
Yeah. So can you
tell us about that and tell us like the look on people's faces maybe when they scan the QR code and they're looking at their home right on their phone.
Right. So that I'm looking at it on my screen now. That is the game changer there. And as I said, I make sure they do not get that information before I'm at that part of the presentation.
Okay.
right? And that's what I said was the icebreaker, Vince. When they get to see it on their phone, they're like, oh my God, what is this? And they're looking, it's very impressive. So that breaks up the whole stiffness of the listing presentation. So that has been a game changer for me so far with that QR code. That's what they remember the most. I mean, all the other pages are so informative and very colorful. That's what I love. I'm an elementary school teacher background, so the graphics just gets my ADD. It's like, I'm like, this is pretty. But every time when I ask them, you know, what part did you like, they always go back to that QR code. And as I said, dropping the landing page on there, then dropping the whole flip book in a link on their phone. It's been, and as I said to you, 3 listing in the last 3 weeks to a month. All of them were presentation. I didn't even have to think about. I think the hardest part was driving by and taking a picture. That was it. Because I didn't want to look like a crazy person outside of the house, right? I think that was the most work I had to do was go by and take the picture. And then while I was taking the picture, guess what I did? I recorded the neighborhood and says like, listing coming soon, right? I didn't even get the listing yet, but just
that,
but I just drove in the neighborhood.
You know, it's interesting because when you add that listing to your account to create the listing presentation, there is a, right here, the verse I'm looking at, send to buyer leads. So that is so, dude, I absolutely love that because when you add the listing as status listing presentation, the flip book, the landing page, the PDF are all created. We automatically create this email, and Tamara just alluded to it, or she just mentioned about also doing a video, which is perfect because the email here says, I am meeting with the local homeowner today who is thinking about selling their home. Let me know if you're interested in getting more info on it when available. They may be interested in doing a private sale. You know, this can be edited however you want to edit it, but it's meant to be able to send to your buyer leads ahead of the listing presentation so that when you go into the listing presentation, you might be able to say, hey, I've got 7 people. I've got 93 people in my database that are looking to buy in this area. And I've got 7 people who have reached out to me in the last 24 hours who are interested. And that can also go a long way to engaging those homeowners to let them know that you're serious and that you've got not only one of the best marketing plans in the industry, but you got serious buyers yourself.
Right. That's something that's an area I'm going to implement more, because even when we do the presentation, I see a question on the screen. Even when I do the listing presentation, now I realize there's a lot of things I could put that transfers over to follow-up boss that I could move over, right? So those are the things where now because I'm diving deep into the different areas. Some of my areas of growth is I'm not utilizing my landing pages as much as I can. Instead of sometimes doing postcard are added, but I could be doing a whole landing page in my community as well to be in different places. So we worked on that when we had the one-on-one. So that's something to implement. The PDF guides based on the clients, I also upload that to my CRM and kind of space that out all the way till September. So they get those PDF guides. And from one of those PDF guides, you had one on probate.
Yes.
I just send it out to my sphere on probate. Hence, I ended up with a probate listing because they viewed me as an expert in the probate area. But it was the probate information that went out. I got the phone call. She told me about someone, but it all comes back from the flyer. So sometimes it's just, so with the PDF guide, based on what the market is about, you could just provide that. Those are just like touchy feel, not anything, but it kind of keeps them engaged.
Give me a little bit more info on that. So you sent out the postcard for probate and you mailed it or something, or?
No, the PDF guide and follow-up boss. So I put it in my batch email.
Oh,
I put it in my batch email and I send that out. Just as I said, looking at what PDF guide can provide a quick value, because remember, the content it's pretty clean and it's an easy read. So it's not like you're like looking at 10 pages of, oh my God, probate. It's the font is good, the graphic is good, and you're like, all right, let me see what she's talking about. And actually they look, and that person saw it, called me and told me a friend, mom, and then when I did probate before, but that kind of positioned me position me as the probate expert.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that. Oh my God. All right. This is so phenomenal.
Could you take us to the PDF guides? Because not everybody knows. Each of you, when you have 80, and so Tamara is saying is, 40 are for buyers and 40 are for sellers. There are multiple ways of getting them out. You have print tools. You can run ads on Facebook, on Google, but you're embedding them into your follow-up boss, into any CRM, and using them when necessary.
Right.
And we actually, and I'm sure you already know this, we auto post these PDF guides to your social media accounts automatically with a landing page. But sometimes things happen in the news that make something really relevant, right? Yeah. And you could just say, oh, I'm just going to post this right now and blast everybody. So when you see these, as I mentioned, there are 80 of these, 40 for buyers, 40 for sellers. If you click on marketing tools, there are multiple ways of getting people to that landing page or to that PDF guide. And that's really the power of this thing.
Yeah. And you could do, so Tamara, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the probate one. And even for the listing presentation, if I know I have a listing on Friday, I could jump on here, get a PDF, send the owner something in the mail, right? Mm-hmm. Once I have their address, send them something, tips of selling your home, or it's already created. I just kind of pick based on what's the summer color or anything that I feel, anything that I would like to look at. I get in the mail, it's all about me all the time. I'm like, what would I look at if it comes in the mail? So I try to go from that perspective. So I get that out. So now I'm not that much of a stranger. If they ask me for something or mention something, I go to the post office, send it out priority mail next day before I even meet them. So it's any little thing. If they're from up north or they want some ideas of certain cities, I'll get some city magazine from Margate, Coconut Creek, Pompano, slide it in a packet, and then kind of mail it over to them on priority. And then they already got something. So by the time they meet me, I've already provided value where they're not that tensed. Right?
Nice. That is awesome. Oh my God. We're going to have a whole new playbook based on
so I'm narrowing it down because coming out here, having my own brokerage, I still have the mindset of a school teacher where I'm like, I gotta master what I'm doing for me to be effective. So I told Vince, my goal is the great news is I got a team leader because I realized owning and working in a brokerage has been, I'm just like all over the place. But what I do with my agents, I show them what I'm doing with listing to leads. So when we have the next meeting and the conversations, they're going to know the value because I'm actually doing it. So I could talk about their pain points, right? I could say, no, don't just run ads. If you're not focused on something, you'll run ads all over the place, like be intentional. Sometimes Vince work on my open house, the pictures, because sometimes I was timing myself to see how quick it will take me to do one of either the listing presentation, click. And I'm like, it literally takes about 2 minutes. And then the system has to kind of reset to create everything. Yep. But it's so amazing. So the click, the time is there. And he was like, take out some of these pictures. What are the key things, Tamara? So now that he's showing me, I was like, okay, take out that picture. That picture is not going to get that much. And then we run the ads a couple days before the open house, right? Yeah. Yep. The only thing I'm guilty of is I have not done it where it's playing on the television while I'm doing the open house. Mm-hmm. I'm so distracted. So Vince, I'm going to have a talk with you on that one because I had everything out, the QR codes where you could scan. I did all of that. And then I was like, I can't get it on the television. I was like, I need to go watch the video.
You could also play it on a laptop. I mean, you could actually play it right from, like I am right here. I'm going to turn the volume down.
Oh, wow.
So you could literally just play it right on a laptop.
Okay, then I'll do the laptop. Okay.
And so for everyone watching, this is essentially the video version of the listing presentation. What Tamara's talking about is when you're doing an open house, have this playing so that as homeowners are coming through, they see this. Now, you could also, if you use this to present at the listing presentation and the homeowner still has it laying around, I would leave this out for people to look at so they could actually pick it up and kind of thumb through it. Have this playing on a laptop or the TV. What some of our clients do is they'll download it from Listings to Leads. So it's in your media library. You see here, there's a download button. and then you can upload it to your YouTube channel. So now it's on your YouTube channel, which is phenomenal. And just log in, ask the homeowner, hey, could you have, maybe I would send them the YouTube link ahead of time and say, hey, could you have your TV on and just have this video playing on the TV? Yeah, I've had that was a tip from another client who said he was getting great results from that because it just creates more conversation.
Yes, it does. And then even from I started with the open house, what I do, we do open houses every Saturday and Sunday. And my intention at the open house is usually to attract even the neighbors, right? So when they come in, because sometimes there's no buyers, it's just neighbors looking, I make sure that that's an opportunity for me to have something to give to them. So again, all the guides, everything that I could cheat sheet, a scan thing. We do walk around with, to the neighborhood and say the neighborhood letter that has helped. And then they come to the open house from the neighborhood letter. And then I make sure I have something to give to them just in case they'd be like, oh my God, I like how you work, right? And then I follow up where they said they live because I could see sometime where they're coming from. And then I'll send them something and thank them as well. So it's just like a whole complete piece that I don't have to create on my own.
Yeah. Have you tried this yet where you print the print flyer for the PDF guide and put it in an acrylic holder? And then that way, if a neighbor comes through or a home buyer, you could just have them scan the QR code right on the print flyer that's at your open house.
I did that, but I didn't put it in the fancy thing like yours.
Okay, yeah. So I've got some of the horizontals and then I got some of the verticals as well.
Wow.
And it's all it is just and real quickly what Tamara is mentioning about going to the neighbors and inviting them to the open house, which is, listen, if you're going to spend 2 to 3 hours doing an open house, your time is worth 150 minimum an hour. So why not leverage it and try to get as many of those neighbors there? And I think mailing it might be a little bit of a lift for an open house. Now, if you mail it for just listed or just sold, but print this up, door knock those neighbors, invite them to the open house. When you got the listing as an open house, this would say, we'll let you know that we're having an open house Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. or whatever it is. And I just want to make sure that you're invited to the open house. You will get a lot more neighbors coming by. And then imagine they got the video playing. You've got this laying around. You've got a couple of the print flyers for a couple of seller guides, maybe a couple of buyer guides. You start turning that open house into an event. Right.
And even for those letters, what I'm thinking of doing, instead of doing one of the listing I got in the 55 plus, I can't do the homeowner because I'm not allowed. I'm just going to target the absentee owners. I know it's crazy. You start targeting the absentee owners and just mail it off to the kids that's wherever else they are. Like anyone that's not from here, I would build so they could still have me in mind as a local expert, right? So it's a one-off, but now the absentee owner lives in Philadelphia, right? Yep. I'll make sure I know they can't come to the open house.
Right.
But all I want is for them to scan that.
Yes.
Right. Or keep me in mind. And those are the ones. So instead of doing the whole community for 100, I'm just going to focus on those 10 that's absentee owner. And that's what I'm working with. I'm not doing the whole community if I can't walk it. I'm just going to focus on the absentee owners. And one of the questions someone asked, my apology, they said, do you give them the listing presentation before you get there? No, I don't. I have to have that element of surprise. I don't want them to make copies right away. I don't want them to already know my spiel because then that momentum or that surprise, elements of surprise is not there when I'm doing a magic presentation, right?
Yeah, if you're in the account and you go to the listing presentation tab and listings, there is a pre-listing pack, and this is just a 4-page summary, which some people like to use. But what Tamara did say is the idea of maybe sending a PDF guide ahead of time.
Yes.
Right. Because it is branded, your picture is on there, your logo's on there, it's all your brand colors. I think that, and it could be how to prepare your home for sale. That's one of our PDF guides.
Yeah.
And that could be a great guide to send ahead of time so that, you don't just come in cold. you come
Right.
in already have given them a little bit of value ahead of time. And so now when you come in, and Tamara, I think you're spot on. I want to see their face when they realize, oh my God, every picture in this thing is my home.
It's my home. Yep.
That's my home. Every single,
I
and then they
did.
scan the QR code. I want to see their face just blow up and their eyes just go like saucers when they are looking on their phone, and it's like literally their home, and they're scrolling on the single property website going, my God, she's like ready to go right now.
Yes. And I remember when Vince did that for me, I was rambling. I was telling him what I was going to do. And he says, what's the address, Tamara? And then I told him the address, and he was like, hold on. And then I looked at it, and that expression was like, it's on every page. And even the front page, when it says created for like the whole homeowner and the address, the first page, that is so intentional. The opening up the presentation, it's like, okay, they created this for me, right? So right there, prepared for.
Yeah, right there.
And it tells you right there. So they're like, they took the time. They took the time before they came here. And then it's easy for me to talk compensation after, right? Because I'm showing you what I'm going to do. And this is what's going on. I remember in the Florida market, with the market being a little tricky, we still have to be you have to be so creative, because homes are staying on the market much longer, like almost like 80 days in some market. But what I'm glad is inventory is increasing, but now buyers are starting to get back that confidence, right? So again, the PDF guide has buyer and seller information. So they're getting back that confidence. So you got to like plug and give and share, right? Single family home still goes off the market. I had an agent that 2 days ago, she got a listing. My agents are like, oh, we're doing an open house this weekend. We're already under contract. Mm-hmm. Literally, if it's priced right, I'm talking about 2 days. A land came on Naples. It was just the house. The house looked like it needed to be torn down. They bought the land for $450 for 2.5 acres, 1 day on the market. So we're still seeing that in South Florida, that it's if the home is not priced right at times. And then sometimes based on proximity, it could be the HOA approval. But what we're finding is homes with no HOA, once they're priced right, it's still a done deal, right? So it's just providing value for whichever side of that you're working with. That has been, that's key.
Just, Scott, let me just say, somebody was asking where the video is. And if you see, I posted a YouTube link. That is the 100-point marketing plan. That's our listing presentation on YouTube. So if you save that link, you can point any laptop, any iPad or any TV to that. That's the 5-minute video that you want to watch.
Yeah. And, and to Tamara's point, I would, for example, here's another buyer guide. It's kind of hard to read maybe, but I'm talking about the 2-1 buy down.
Yes.
There's a buyer guide for down payment assistance, 6 things to check before buying a home. And so again, when you're at the open house, have some of these print flyers available to help the buyers, because, a lot of times buyers will come through, they're thinking about buying a home, but they don't maybe have the confidence or the know-how on how to do it yet. And they might be scared to talk to you because they think you're just going to sell them into something. Yeah. So to be able to have some of these print flyers available in a stand with the QR code that speaks to the buying process, that can be a phenomenal way to help break that ice so that you are able to add value without having to necessarily have a conversation with them for those people that are just not yet comfortable. Because people all go through open houses. I go through 2 to 3 or 4 open houses a weekend. Every weekend I go through open houses. And, I would give most of them a failing grade because, they don't have sign-in sheets. They don't have any other information. They barely talk to people coming through. They just kind of say, hey, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah. And, if I'm a buyer or homeowner and I came through your open house and that was your attitude as the agent, whether you're showing or listing, I wouldn't be too impressed.
Okay. So I'm guilty of something. And what I tell my agents, I'm switching to my broker hat. Okay. Right. One of my agents, he's now my team leader. Thank you. Ooh, he's now my team leader. You walk in that door and he's getting all your information. By the time he leaves, he's getting all the information For me, I welcome the guests at the door. And then I ask them, I say something about the community, and I said, would you like me to give you a tour? Would you like to take a look around first? And then, so I give them that opportunity, but I back off. I leave them alone, right? And I go back because I know I'm going to get them in the kitchen, and I know I have everything prepared to make an impression. So my thing is, I'm going to print out that PDF guide, not even necessary for you to scan the QR code, because sometimes they don't want to do that either, right? They're like, oh, they're going to try to get my information. On those, my information is on there. So I make sure by the time I get you in the kitchen or the focal point of the property, I'm able to give you something where you're walking away with Tamara Lobban with our phone number on some kind of material. So, you know, my agents tell me, they was like, why you never let them sign in? I go, they could sign in and give me fake information.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not even going to, you don't have to sign it. With COVID, you don't want to touch this. But one thing I could tell you for sure, Raven fan, the leads that we get from listing to leads are actually people. They might not be looking to buy now, but a lot of times it's like the number is wrong, the email is wrong. I don't have the time to go down that rat hole. And one of the things I'll tell my agents, I says, I'm not a car salesman, right?
Yeah.
I'm here to provide value. You have to know if you want to buy a house or not. So because buyers are now mortgage, like they're more focused on the mortgage, just like what you said, with the PDF, and then a breakdown is if you put on 5%, this is what your mortgage would be, 10%.
Yes.
This is what those are the value I'm providing right there, and ask them, are you currently working with a lender? And if you need any assistance, but I let them see how much their monthly payment is going to be. So I'm very intentional with that. The kitchen space, usually kitchen area looking out by the pool, where comfortable we're talking, because I'm complimenting something in the kitchen, and now I'm giving you information. I host as a broker. I put on my agent hat, and I have an open house every Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 3. And they go, how do you do that all the time? It's just 1 to 3. And then I go out to dinner with my husband after. I'm just there. I could check my emails if it's slow. But what I found out is now I'm interested in what you'd say nosy neighbors. The neighbor said, I see, and I make sure I do open house every weekend for the first 4 weeks. Even if I'm just there for the first 4 weeks, the neighbors usually come over and says, no other agents is doing that, right? I haven't seen anyone else host an open house. Now they're like, we're thinking of selling in 6 months. What do you think I do now? Go home, get my priority mail, tape it up. Thank you for having a conversation with me, and send it back over. So those are the things why I have continued to grow since I've been a broker for 3 years. Because those splash dash quick things, some of those are not working anymore. It's providing that value, slowing it down, following up, being consistent. I've learned, I've maxed out my cards. I bought this lead, not lead, and it didn't work. Right. So now it's like, here's what we can do for you. That value, slowing it down, still belly to belly, still the best way that I've seen growth. And now when I get you belly to belly, boom, I'm going to provide you value that I didn't have to create on Canva for hours.
let me say something there, a couple things, because there's a question, is this being recorded? Yes, it will be on our YouTube channel. But the thing about the open house marketing, which I know Scott knows as well, because we've been interviewing clients for the past couple months now who are all saying, hey, this market is tough, but if I am doing open houses, I am finding more listings and more buyers. There's a whole series of things that you want to do. You can email me or Scott. We'll give you I have a great open house. We have a call with Brian Mathewson, which is awesome. He's super strategic about leveraging open houses. But you know, we obviously focus on capturing leads. We do a lot of that online. We do it in print, paid ads, free stuff. But when you're at an open house, you are literally going to, you know, the thing about having more business is you need to talk to more people, not just capture leads. You need to talk to people. Yes. And that's what, you know, Tamara is doing, is being out there, being visible. Yeah. And now by using listings to leads here in this way, you're able to get homeowners in, you're able to find buyers, you get a volume of people. And that's why, you know, I talk to agents every day, and a lot of people still don't want to do open houses. Like, oh, I don't even do that. Well, yeah, if you drop a date in the MLS and wait for things to happen, That might not be a great use of time, but if you're doing it with our system, you're going to find more listings and more buyers.
Yeah.
And these can be borrowed open houses. So Tamara, for your agents that are maybe newer, that don't have a listing yet to hold open, let them hold open one of yours or maybe another listing in the
They
office.
do, the whole team. That's
Yeah.
the culture. That's the culture. They know, just like what I share. We have the new listing this week, Wednesday. They already tagged me. Tomorrow I want to do open house on Kim's listing. And I was like, 24 hours. I was like, we're on the contract, inspection period, like done. So I do encourage them, especially when it's a single family ones.
Yeah.
I encourage them to go out. So some of the agents do. So some of the time we're hosting 3 open houses in different locations because we're out there.
Yeah, and so let me ask you this. So you mentioned about having PDF guides. So for example, and I think that's brilliant because, for example, and every market can be a little bit different. Every agent can be a little bit different, but here's a first-time home buyer's guide. There's like 39 other ones that you can choose from. Every page is branded. And Vince mentioned a call that we did with another client, and he turned us on to this thermal binding machine. And it's like $57, and I printed this with this machine. It takes about a minute or two to bind this once you print it. And so to be able to have maybe 4 or 5 copies of a PDF guide binded with your name on them, cheap.
I like that.
Maybe it's $3 or $4 to print and bind, and now you can have a phenomenal. I mean, no one's going to throw this away. If a buyer comes or maybe have a couple of these seller guides, and if you don't give them away at this open house, we got them for the next one, so you're not going to waste your money. And when you have a buyer coming through, you have maybe a little conversation or what have you, and you offer them, hey, would you like to take my guide? This is something this is not a listing flyer they're going to throw away. This is something they're going to keep, and they'll probably put it on their kitchen table, their countertop somewhere, and it's going to probably hang out in their house for months until if they're not ready to move before then. So I think that idea, Vince, I want to make sure we add that to that list of optional things, like doing the video, having the video playing, having some of the PDF, I may actually, so yeah, we got this idea, but then like to Tamara's point, we've also got this idea because some people, they're not going to want to scan the QR code for whatever reason. And if I can hand you something of value that you're going to take and keep, that's money in the bank.
Yes.
Yeah, that's quality. That's quality. And I got to say, like when we're talking about open houses, and Tamara's getting there because you're new. You're still new to us, right? But you're gonna build a kit, like a system that's ready. You don't have to do this for each one. You have your tools built that you take to every open house. So it's not actually that time consuming once you've got all this put together, right? And like when you're buying the tabletops, you're not doing separate ones for each, the one page 5. You're not doing a whole separate kit for each listing. It's the same ones you pull out of your trunk and you put it at your open house and you're ready to go.
Yeah. And even from the broker point, the recruiting section, right? How that has helped me also. So the recruiting section, when they scan or they fill out the information, it has everything that the brokerage offer. And then all the listing to lead or, the 100, everything is in there, right? So when I'm having the conversation with them as a brokerage, I'm able to provide that value of, yes, we have that technology in place to support you. So now I'm fully settling down to actually host events where I'm recruiting agents instead of actually, having all the one-on-one with no technology piece to support it. So now that I have the team leader, now I could focus on drawing those recruitments in based on what we provide. So I ran an ads in a local paper, and it's at the top of the ads, it says, I don't know, are you tired of being with a big real estate brokerage? We're hiring kind of thing. And you click it. And when you click it, it goes to my listing to lead recruiting landing page, right?
Oh, cool.
So, I know. So it's me on top again. So it goes right to my listen to lead landing page. And then they fill it out. So what I do is when they fill it out, I don't call them right away. Remember, I told you again, what I do now on my weekly email to my team, I blind copy them so they could see what I do for my team. And then later on, I'll have a conversation or they'll reach out back to me. I like providing the value for people to reach back out to me. You know, it kind of helps me close that way.
And just let me speak to that because I know there are a lot of agents here, but there are also some brokers on the call today as well. We actually have a dedicated recruiting platform. And we added it to your account once we launched because she wants to grow, right? And not only grow, I remember, you wanted to get higher quality agents as well who are really being active and wanted to really, get into the business. And this speaks to that. I think Scott and I agree. We know that agents move. They're going to move where the brokers are investing in them. They're giving them resources that they can actually grow their business. And that's what our platform does. Right. It actually helps you convey that story with automated posts, with ads, and then you're creating it and you're taking it and putting it in print, which I didn't know print even existed anymore.
I'm old school. But even with this, for the recruitment piece, what I was telling Scott before, I now have an accountability sheet, which I'll share with anyone that wants it. So as I'm having a conversation with the agents, say, for example, I pick something from the marketing calendar and they're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that together. And then before they schedule a broker one-on-one, I want to see their accountability sheet to make sure they at least looked at the video, invested some time in the video before we sit there and we're going from scratch. So the accountability sheet for my current agents, that's what's helping me along with to make sure now, because I'm embedded in listing to leads in the brokerage. So now it's like, okay, did you do this? Did you do this? And hopefully Vince could give me a one-on-one again and more come on, but
of course.
But at least, making sure that they have that support. So I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as the broker.
Oh, that's very smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, just to speak a little bit about that, because when you're working at a brokerage level, and every broker knows you might be paying for something and 20% of your agents are actually using it. If you're lucky, 50. And I do want to speak, we have another long-term client also in Southern Florida called MVP Realty. And we worked with them when they had 300 agents. They now have 1,100 agents 10 years later. And they have their own private YouTube library on listings to leads. And any new recruit has to go through all those classes that they've done. So they leverage listings to leads for their own recruiting more than I think any other company I know. A lot of companies use us for recruiting, and just like you're using with our recruiting platform. But they are dedicated because they know if an agent can learn how to use our platform, their business will grow. And that's what every broker wants. They want productive agents.
You don't do your agents any service by allowing them to come in and not take accountability for their training and their actions, right? I mean, there have been some companies in the past that are very famous for where 90% of their agents don't produce, right? Now, the industry isn't that great, but there are certain companies that they'll just take any living body and have no accountability for them. And it doesn't do the broker any service. It doesn't do the agent any service. So having accountability, requiring them to go through training, to your point, Tamara, requiring them to do open houses or whatever it's going to be. But, I can't require you to maybe close a certain amount of listings in the very beginning. But what I can require you to do is to do the actions that will lead to that.
Right.
And we know what those actions are.
Yeah. And that's where I had to learn, being a broker for the last 3 years. Those are the things that I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I not do? And then the brokerages that have the 90% of people not doing anything, there's a monthly fee, right? Mm-hmm. So if 2,000 of you don't sell, 2,000 times $70 a month, I mean, I don't need you to sell a house, right? So I thought about all the models and I was like, no, I want you to learn because, so as you said, that accountability piece, and now I'm building out the whole thing now where we have the classes. So I'm working on that with the team lead. So I'll be excited to share that with Vince and you later. So I'm working with the team lead where now I'm holding myself accountable of the value that I'm providing, but also holding them accountable of, this training, right? For them to invest back in their craft. I said, it's important. It's important to invest back in your craft.
And since I got you on the line with me right now, and I'll just say this to you because I want all of our brokers to hear this, and that is, Vince and I do a lot of training. I think we average about one a day. And, if you go to legionwebinars.com, you can see our training calendar. But I want to make sure, and Tamara, this is, for you here, is, just make sure at least once a week to mention to your agents, hey, make sure to go to Legion webinars. They're doing a lot of great training this week on how to generate and engage and convert leads and, do your listing presentations. So, lean on the training that we are doing, system wide. Yeah. And what we've noticed is the brokers that ignore or forget about listings to leads, well, then their agents usually end up forgetting about it as well. And right. So as a leader, which is what a broker is and should be, definitely don't forget to bring up, and I know you're going to because you're invested in it, in a number of different ways. But yeah, just keep talking about the wins that you're getting. Keep talking about the training that we do for your agents to help grow their business.
So the lead gen webinar. And then, so now when I'm planning out my month, right? So I'm going to look, and what I like is the whole program is going to make me appear bigger than I am, right? I'm just being transparent. So in my brains, I was like, oh my God, I got to train this. I got to learn this. And then Vince was like, Tamara, I could jump on a call with your agents. I didn't think about it like that, right? And then now when you have the webinars now on my calendar, I could pick the specific ones, right? And then I lead them to that without me. Because I wasn't even thinking about going to lead gen webinar and doing what you're saying to build out my calendar either. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, right here, lead gen webinars. And this is being updated today. So the August calendar will be out today. And yeah, you're going to see it's about one a day that we do. Sometimes there's actually a couple a day.
And let me speak a little bit more to this as well. Like, Tamara is new to us, and we got her onto a broker account just a few months ago, and I think we've done one call together, but often I'll do 2 or 3 calls, kind of hitting on certain aspects of the system in the first quarter, and then sometimes we have a lot of clients who will do a catch-up call every 6 months because we're always adding new technology, or there's new things that are working in today's market, and so your agents need to know, like, hey, you need to focus here because this is what's getting our clients business right now. So that's just part of having a broker plan with us. We are always doing live training on lead gen webinars for our whole client base, but our office clients get sort of dedicated calls as well.
Okay. Yeah. And someone just asked, does Tamara charge agent for listing to leads? So because we have the accountability sheet and we're implementing it now, I'm not just randomly giving all the agents listen to lead access. We have where it's like a training. So now I said I got the team lead. So we have the training, they do what they're supposed to do. And then I'm going to filter it in. And then as I see that they're using it, then I'll upgrade my plan accordingly. But for right now, my first set, but not random coming in, because I've done that and then they don't use it, right? Yep. And then I can have new recruits that I need that spot for and I didn't use it. So currently I do not charge them for listen to leads, but it will be based on the accountability they're tracking. So we have a 30, 60, and 90 day training program. And as they continue to do, then we introduce, then we drop it in. So it's part of the 90-day plan.
I love it. It's funny. The company that Vince mentioned earlier, way down in South Florida, very similar idea where they don't just give listings to leads to every agent in their company. But Vince, I don't know if you saw, they added 10 agents to their account today. I logged into admin and I saw, boom, they had so many agents that they added, but they have to go through a training before they can get an account. And then the account is free for them as well. So, just knowingly or unknowingly, you're definitely following best practices on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just to give an agent, it's a cliche, but you give a man a fish, he'll just eat it and never learn how to fend for himself. But if you actually teach them how to do it and then hold them accountable to, are you going out fishing every day? Are you using the program? Because hey, if you're not, I got somebody else that will.
Yeah.
Or I'll get somebody.
And one of the things I'm constantly reminded, I said, I remember when we were all in real estate class, we had so much hopes and everything. And I'm like, you did not get your license. Well, if you want to be a producing agent, right? So you can do 1-2 deal a year and sit down, that's fine. But the same passion you had and how much we had to study, I'm like, every day is a new opportunity for you to it's just amazing possibilities. I'm like, don't lose it on me right now. Just kind of get the training. You will be able to use it. I'm trying to encourage everyone to have that same momentum as we work hard to get our license, right? Some of us, I didn't get it on my first try for my broker's license, but we work hard for it. So now I'm just like, all right, now let's put in the work. And if you can't do it full time because you have a full-time job, then it's still your storefront. Invest 1 hour a day in your real estate business. This platform will help. Just be intentional with the 1 hour that you put in your business per day, but just be committed and consistent with that 1 hour for your own business, So that's what I encourage them. I understand everyone is not full-time, but then the time that you have, let's be intentional because this is technically, 1099.
Let me interrupt because there's a good question that came up from Maria about, does our software post all listings to social media accounts? And the answer is yes. We actually have some brokers, that's the only reason they sign up for us, is that we can sweep listings automatically and we can post them to the office social media accounts automatically, and there are landing pages there. And then they can also at the same time go to the agent's social media accounts. Their listings go to their accounts, but all listings in the account go to the office. But I also want to say one more thing, and I have a rollout call for a new office in Canada in 4 minutes. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us and helping our other clients learn more about listings to leads. We totally appreciate you being here. And of course, book a call with me whenever you need me. You know how to do that.
Well, I want to second Anita Jones's comment here that Tamara, you are a rock star, and thank you so much for sharing and taking your time. I know you're busy, you got so many things going on, so really thank you for your time today and sharing everything with everybody.
Thank you so much. If anyone have any questions, Vince, you just let me know. I'll answer them accordingly. Okay, it's a pleasure. Tamara from Legacy Prime Realty. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Tamara, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.